Welcome back to A Blueprint for Balancing Achievement and Affordability, a production of the Westchester Area School District. We've learned a lot so far about the challenges the district is facing in its efforts to create a balanced budget. Adding to these challenges is the fact that the district is also right in the midst of negotiations with the Westchester Area Education Association, the union which represents the district's 917 teachers. The current contract expires June 30th, 2012. To learn more about the negotiation process in the Westchester Area School District, I'm here now with Vince Murphy, who's the president of the school board, and Jeffrey Sultanic, the chief negotiator for the school board. Gentlemen, thanks for being with us today.
Good to be here, Dan.
Good to be here.
Before we drill down really on Westchester, Mr. Sultanic, I'm sure that there are financial issues facing Westchester right now that are not unique to Westchester. What have we seen throughout the state, and how is this translating into the contracts that are being settled in other districts?
The conditions that in Pennsylvania right now for school districts are unprecedented. The words that I have heard most frequently is that school districts are all facing the perfect storm. And in fact, the districts which have the largest commercial tax bases, such as Westchester, are being hurt significantly as the result of declining values of commercial real estate. So not only are districts being squeezed in terms of other factors, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, districts are facing reduced tax receipts from their tax base. They're facing increased contributions, as you heard earlier, from the public school employees retirement system to fund the retirements of our teachers. They're faced with low investment earnings. They're faced with situations where they are not seeing in districts that have earned income taxes, reduced earned income tax receipts, and districts are faced with a cap on the ability to tax, which is our Act 1 index, which is currently a 1.7% amount on a base level basis in this state. And the factors don't look like they're going to improve appreciably in the upcoming years. So districts don't have any money. And they don't have the money that they used to have in the collective bargaining process. There used to be an unlimited amount that we could raise taxes to fund any teacher's contract. So what we're seeing right now is the situation where districts are cutting back on salary increases. We're seeing many more freezes on salary step movement, freezes on educational attainment, freezes on any salary increases whatsoever. We're seeing health benefit costs being contained because in most situations they're going up far faster than the Act 1 index. And we're seeing districts having to cut back what they can give because of the increasing amount of dollars that are going for pensions. In addition to that, we see districts that are trying to get better strategies to get more efficient time out of their employees. We're seeing districts cut back on tuition reimbursement. So this is a time of concession, not of substantive increases for teachers' unions. And it's been a challenge to negotiate those contracts on a statewide basis because what happens is at the expiration of a teacher's contract, the school boards are required to keep all terms and conditions of employment the same. So if their health benefit costs increase by 15 or 20%, we still have to provide that benefit to the teachers until such time as we negotiate a new contract. So we're walking a very challenging balance to negotiate a successor labor contract.
So are there any other issues that are really unique to this process for Westchester?
Indeed there are. For example, This district already provides retiree health care benefits to its teachers who retire after 15 years of working in the district, so long as they're 50 years of age. The district gives those individuals a $20,000 HRA for them to use to pay for health care benefits in retirement. The district is required under state law and federal law to disclose the amount of its obligations for retiree health care benefits on its offering statements and the like, and that impacts our ability to borrow money, and it acts as a long-term liability for the district. At this time where we have shrinking resources and the desire of the board to provide as much program as possible, we're looking to limit the district's obligations on retiree health care, and we have proposed ways to encourage teachers to not continue to be on our self-insured health care program, which adds to our costs of operation. So the retiree health care issue is a significant issue that is particular to the Westchester Area School District and can impose a significant dollar drain as we look to the future.
Vince, early on in the negotiation process, the school board decided to set negotiation goals. What was the reason for this?
Dan, the simple truth is we felt we needed a set of goals to stay on track. We felt that a basic set of goals, a set of guiding principles, was really important to keep us focused throughout the process, throughout the entire negotiation process, and it was critical to make sure that district's priorities were focused on the students and the community.
What negotiation goals did the board really establish, and why were they important?
Well, we really established a set of 5 major goals to help guide us throughout the process. And I'd like to go through each one and just offer why they were important to us. The first goal was to maintain the integrity of our programs by directing limited resources toward our academic priorities. And in other words, for us, education comes first. We have an obligation to make sound financial decisions so that we can maintain the integrity of our education programs. We have a responsibility to spend the district's dollars wisely. Our second goal was really to retain the district's ability to make essential decisions to ensure the optimal delivery of our services. And here, we felt that the administration must have flexibility in implementing innovative, effective educational programs that continuously improve the quality of our education. We have to give the administration the tools they need to really do what they need to do, which is provide a quality education for the children in our district. The third goal was to implement market-driven health benefits that reduce the financial burden on taxpayers. Healthcare costs continue to rise, and quite frankly, there's really no end in sight to that. Our benefit plans need to really reflect what's happening out in the marketplace, what our community is experiencing when they go to get a benefits plan or a health plan. So we thought it was really important that these plans reflect what's going on in the general marketplace and that they help bend that cost curve and really help reduce our overall cost for health benefits. The fourth goal was to develop a salary and compensation program responsive to economic indicators and to the challenges of the community that funds it. And we can't ignore the economic conditions in our community. We really need to promote new, innovative compensation programs, new ways to compensate and reward our professional staff, our teachers. And those types of plans really need to be aligned to what's happening to the economy and what our community and what our taxpayers are experiencing. And the final goal was to improve productivity and achievement through staff development, teacher accessibility, and innovative and flexible approaches to educational delivery. In here, we really need to think out of the box. We really need to look at new ways to develop our professional staff and to ensure that they have, they're prepared when they get in front of the class. So we developed all these goals with a strong commitment to balance both academic achievement and overall affordability. And the board is really committed to stay the course and to make sure that we achieve all these goals throughout our negotiation process.
Let's talk about the physical negotiations themselves for a minute. It's my understanding that the school board actively engaged in the negotiation process but doesn't sit at the negotiation table. Mr. Soltanic, can you tell us about the district's negotiating team, the reason that the board members are not at the table, and how they're being kept actively involved in the process?
Well, first of all, we have two negotiating teams that work together. We have a table team, and then we have 3 board members who are behind the scenes that are very involved in the negotiations process. The table team consists of myself, the Director of Finance in the district, Director of Human Resources, and Mark Petrando, who is one of the Assistant Superintendents in the district. Amongst them, we have all of the resources that we need to discuss all of the issues in dispute at the bargaining table. We have 3 board members, including our board president, who are very involved in the negotiations process, who give us specific direction. But I need to back up for a second. This kind of model is not unique to the Westchester School District. Many school districts have followed this model, and I asked the question, how many $200 million a year organizations, such as the Westchester School District, have board members who sit at the bargaining table? I can assure you, even though it's larger, that General Motors doesn't have its board members sit at the bargaining table when they're negotiating a contract with the UAW. And in the same way, the board members are policymakers. You heard Mr. Murphy go through the list of goals in the negotiations process. The table team is very keenly aware of those goals, and it's our duty to report to the negotiating team as to what we are doing to fulfill those goals in the collective bargaining process. Immediately after every bargaining session, I usually talk to Mr. Murphy on the phone, and within hours, typically no later than the next morning, the board negotiating team receives a detailed written summary of what happened at the bargaining process. And in addition to that, they receive an updated document just like this that specifies each of the issues in dispute that came up during the collective bargaining process and what modifications were made at the bargaining session as a result of that. And once there are specific questions that need to be addressed, we either schedule a conference call amongst the table team and the non-table team, or we arrange a face-to-face meeting. And in fact, prior to this process even beginning, we had an entire meeting with the entire Board of School Directors to elicit all of the information that eventually became part of the goals of this negotiating process. I can assure anyone listening to this program that we probably do not have a situation that board members are not involved in this process. To the contrary, the board is extremely involved in this process. They're knowledgeable on all aspects of this, and they give me direction, and the table team direction. And the one thing that's unique about the table team is none of us have a vote. And we know that ultimately 5 board members of the Westchester Area School Board will have to vote on a collective bargaining agreement. And they have to be involved in the process. And I will tell anyone that I don't know of a more involved board and board negotiating team than the team led by Mr. Murphy.
When did the talks really get started, and what kind of lies ahead for the months in the future?
Well, the talks began in January of this year. Now, what is going to happen, I wish I knew that. If I knew what is going to happen, I wouldn't have to work for a living. However, I do believe we're going to have to go through the many issues that are in dispute in the process. Examples of what we have done in the past, one of the bargaining sessions was devoted exclusively to health benefits and to discuss the issue. And we brought in Tom Belmont from Gallagher and Associates, who is the administrator of our self-insured health benefit program, to talk about the trends on our health benefit programs, the trends that exist in the marketplace as to what are the market-driven health benefits that are out there, and specific issues and costing issues for our Westchester area school district employees. And we devoted an entire bargaining session to that. In upcoming bargaining sessions, we're going to talk about retiree health care benefits specifically. We're going to talk about our need for time. We're going to talk about all of the other goals in the process in an effort to see if we can find common ground to resolve the issues, and if we can't find common ground, to at least assess what our differences are and try to develop strategies to result in fewer differences at the table. We have a big challenge ahead of us. What we're asking the association to do is to rethink many of the issues that are in our collective bargaining agreement that we once could afford. Can't afford a lot of them anymore looking into the future. And because it is the overriding goal of this school board to preserve as much of the educational program as possible and to deliver that program at a level that the Westchester area community wants and deserves, that we're going to be looking for a number of concessions from our association, and they're going to have to come to terms with those issues if we still want to be the Westchester area school district that our community wants.
Mr. Murphy, it appears that the Westchester area school district has made a very public commitment to keeping community members aware of the major negotiation milestones. What are you doing specifically?
Well, we made a decision to seek professional communication support, and because fundamentally we felt that we had an obligation to keep the taxpayer informed throughout this process. At the end of the day, they're going to be the ones who are paying the bill for the contract that we negotiate, and we felt that we had a duty to keep them informed. So what we're doing is we established a section on our website. Our website, of course, is www.wcasd.net, and there's a negotiations update section. And in that section, we've posted our negotiation goals, frequently asked questions. We intend to post updates about our negotiation process there, and of course, this video. So, I would encourage our community, our taxpayers, our parents, and our students to go out and visit the site and keep informed about the entire process.
Thanks very much, Vince Murphy, Jeffrey Sultanic, for joining us here today. Certainly a thorough overview of the contract negotiations and the thought process that's really guiding them. Thank you, gentlemen.
You're welcome, Dan. It was a pleasure.
You're welcome.
This has been an edition of A Blueprint for Balancing Achievement and Affordability, a production of the Westchester Area School District. I'm Dan Loney. Residents of the district are encouraged to visit the district website at www.wcasd.net for updates on negotiations and the school district budget.